All right, let me do one check, and two, double, and five. And welcome back to another, I can't say Dynamite anymore. We're going to say Dynamite and Collision review show on the Tricology News Talk. And you already know, I'm your host with the most, Mr. Tricology himself. And with me is my partner in crime, the director of Epispde, and my co-host, Mr. Leland Benford. What's up, bro?
What is up, everybody? Well, things have changed. We have a new show on Saturdays. Fighting is all right on Saturday, as everybody likes to say. Hey man, this thing was incredible. The set looks great. The show was awesome. It definitely felt like its own thing, and I know we're going to get into it. The show is already starting off with some controversy, but I mean, this show was really good. But that's not to say we're not going to talk about Dynamite, but Dynamite does kind of feel like the Woody, and then Collision does feel like the Buzz Lightyear right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and in between, we might do the Rampage results as well. I know Rampage nowadays they just be tape shows, but since we got Dynamite, then Rampage, and then Collision, so we're gonna do a little stuff there because most of the Rampage, or well, I think at least one match was like a most of it was like a build up to Forbidden Door. So we're gonna go skim through, run through over that as well. So but first off, let me say we apologize in advance that we wasn't there 2 weeks ago because I had to fly in to Chi-Town in Chicago for a family funeral emergency, so I couldn't be there last 2 weeks ago. And of course, you guys already know with our busy schedules, us being filmmakers, the stuff where we do, so you guys understand that. But yeah, we're back for this week, and it will come at a better time to discuss. So with Dynamite going back to DC, as people say, DC was the first home for Dynamite, so that's kind of their anniversary as they build it up last week, and then of course hyping up the Collision as their premiere episode. So a lot of things happened this week. So Dynamite, AEW, let me tell you, they got their footing back. So let's see if they can keep riding the waves, and not only to Forbidden Door, then to All In, and then to the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it was really exciting. They had a really fun show. Both nights, Dynamite and Collision. Um I really do think there might be a brand slip happening. I can see how there's some rivalries that may start here from show to show. But I mean, yeah, this thing was really fun. The AEW is becoming a real force to reckon with, and it's so fun to kind of watch this company just grow and grow and grow. They came a long way from those two circle tunnel entrances, and they came a long way from just their pandemic shows and the Daily's place. I don't know why Tony Khan hasn't used the Jacksonville Jaguars arena yet for a big event, but someday soon. And I think, definitely after this Wembley premiere, I mean, they're gonna be looking for bigger crowds because the action is just ridiculous. I don't see how people don't watch this product because the action on an AEW show is just ridiculous. But yeah, I'm excited for the future, and the game's coming out. I'm excited for the game. I got the game pre-ordered. I'm ready for it to drop. I'm ready to get into that. I mean, AEW is doing everything I wanted it to do and more.
Absolutely. I already pre-ordered the game as well for me as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So it's going to be a very interesting year for AEW going into to 2023. So let's not waste time. Let's get into the Dynamite review. So first up, we had what I should feel like that was like a pay-per-view match on a free television show, but it is what it is. But that just be blessed that we got this match in the first show, and was the AEW World Champion MJF versus Adam Cole, and unfortunately, it ended in a 30-minute time limit draw. Yeah, I mean, come on, like none of these men can afford a loss here. Like no one can afford a pinfall here. So like AEW kind of put themselves in a must tough situation. So, but it kind of builds up the story there. So like with the finish with allowing Adam Cole to continue to chase MJF for the world title. But there was a moment where we thought that Adam Cole was almost going to get the win, but like when that bell rang, I was like, oh man, we forgot about the 30-minute time limit. There was a point like, oh man, and then like after the match, MJ said 5 more minutes, and then Adam Cole said like 5 more minutes, and then MJ was like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very well-timed bell ring in between the 2 count. I kind of wish that they had the announcer announce 10 minutes remaining in the match to kind of get us prepared for that, because it did feel like it came out of nowhere. But I think if they would have kept that trend going, that would have been great to have, having that reminder of the time. But overall, really good match in the total, really good story. MJF with the Vince was right elbow pad. That was really a nice touch. But really good match between these 2 guys. I mean, total professionals. And I look forward to kind of them doing some more rivalry. Their promo battle the week before was great. So, really good match.
It's funny that you mentioned the elbow pad that MJF had where it said Vince was right. So it kind of backs to when Vince McMahon and his crazy ideas of having Adam Cole as a manager for Keith Lee, which was stupid. I'm very glad that did not happen. But yeah, this match was all over the place. There was MJF did the Shawn Michaels elbow off the top through the announcers table. We saw him try to do a Eddie Guerrero spot, but that didn't happen. Him trying to do the Ric Flair, Jeff Jarrett. I don't know who started the strut. It was Ric Flair or Jeff Jarrett with that. But so it was a lot of things going on in this match. But if you're gonna ask what's gonna happen next, I do see we get another match, but this time it might be 60 minutes or no time limit. But I don't know if it's gonna be another straight one-on-one or they're gonna do like some kind of gimmick match. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, this rivalry definitely is just starting. So it's definitely going to be something that grows and grows. But again, these are 2 guys who can definitely both hold their own on the mic, hold their own in the ring. It's gonna be a fun rivalry to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And so moving on from that, we had a video package showcasing the return of CM Punk, which we'll get to later in the Collision review. But he said that whatever he do or say, he has a lot to get off his chest, and he also has some unfinished business. So we'll get to CM Punk in a few minutes, or when we get to the Collision review. So we go back to the ring. Renee Paquette introduced Sammy Guevara to the ring, who said in recent weeks that he had the highest of highs with the announcement of his wife Ty Mello being pregnant with a baby girl, to the lowest of lows, losing the AEW title in that fatal four-way match at Double or Nothing. Guevara said he had made some changes before he could follow up. Darby Allin made his way to the ring, and Allin congratulated Guevara on the baby announcement and said that the crowd seems to love him again. which he got mixed reactions. Allen asked if Guevara wants to continue to follow in the Jericho Appreciation Society footsteps, but this time Chris Jericho interrupted before Guevara could even respond. Jericho asked Guevara why he never asked him for help in his quest for the AEW title. Sammy Guevara said, why hasn't Jericho called him when he lost to Adam Cole not once but twice? Jericho demanded an apology, but Guevara refused to. And Jericho said, maybe they need to reunite the Let's Sex Gods next week and have a tag team match to provide Guevara who is the boss truly is. Allen laughed and told Jericho the match is gone whenever he gets to the way. So he refers to like whenever he's in the backstage area and he does the wizard tricks, but like that trick doesn't work when he goes to the ring. So that's what Darby Allin mentioned. So Jericho was insulted, saying that he and Guevara should beat down Allen 2-on-1. Allen said, I'm not here alone. And then before you know, the lights went out. And what is Tony Jabari's magic words? Oh yeah. It's and then Jericho, they said it's the first time. I'm like, but like, I don't know if they actually had a face-to-face before in WCW, but they saying this is their first time in their careers they had a face-to-face off in the ring. So both of them took turns raising their baseball bats at each other. Jericho went to retreat and told Guevara to come on, but he did not follow. So this was a pretty fun segment. So we need that. This is an absolute must before Sting go out in the Blaze of Glory and goes out of retirement. We need to see Sting versus Chris Jericho because the way they aim their bats at each other, I was like, oh my God, this needs to happen. So like, even if fans say like, oh, we need to see Sting versus the Painmaker versus Chris Jericho. But yeah, so yeah, you think that we need to see this match? And what are your thoughts on this segment alone? And then like, are you really feeling this Sammy Guevara babyface? Because I know that sometimes when company people want to make certain baby faces, certain wrestlers, it's like it's not either working or is it really working? Because the fans normally tells you like who they want to see as a baby face and who they want to see as a heel.
I mean, I think right now what they got going on is that Sammy just announced that he's having a baby. He's going to be a father. It's a great opportunity for him to become a baby face. But is the fans ready for him to become a baby face? That's the big question. And I think that crowd, if you wanted to test audience, that crowd, 50%. I think they were right on the line. They kind of fell out of it a little bit when Darby mentioned that they was liking them. Fans don't like to be assumed like that, So, but I think it's definitely in that middle ground where you heard a lot of the maybe we like them, maybe we don't. So now here's the cool thing, right? I am Googling while you were talking Sting versus Chris Jericho, WCW. And nothing popped up. And I know they didn't go against each other in WCW. So this may be the first time Chris Jericho and Sting meet in a match, which is crazy to think that they never did. That is definitely crazy to think. But I guess at the time, Chris Jericho was considered a cruiserweight, in WCW, and Sting was with all the heavyweight guys. So it definitely makes sense. But yeah, if these guys' careers ran pretty parallel and just never intersected, that'd be a great, last match for Sting. Someone that came from WCW with them and things like that. So we will definitely see. But also with Guevara, I think the babyface thing will work if he turns on Jericho. Also, let's give it up to Jericho for wearing those purple pumps to the ring. Can it be easy to walk to the ring on those? But Yeah, this is an interesting segment. Jericho is the perfect person to do a retirement match with Sting. Who would be the perfect person for a retirement match for Chris Jericho?
I don't know. Chris Jericho has a long way to go, but we just have to wait and see. And speaking of fashion, who you think wears the who you think wears the best dress up? Chris Jericho or Seth Rollins?
Oh, Seth Rollins right now. Seth Rollins has that new drip. I ain't gonna lie. Seth Rollins. At first, everyone was like, "What? What's going on?" But over time, he be coming out in some banging outfits sometimes. Not all the time, some banging ones sometimes. But he's playing around with it and it's working for him. So congratulations to I think who's the true workhorse champ of WWE right now. To me, is Seth Rollins.
Cool. And then we move on to a video package showing the IWGP champion Santana is issuing an open challenge for the IWGP heavyweight title match at Forbidden Door. And then later on tonight, someone has answered that challenge. And we'll get to that in a second. And then we got a 8-person tag team match with the AEW International Champion, Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Sting, and Keith Lee, defeating the mobile embassy of Sir Strickland, Brian Cage, and the Gates of Agony. So this was a pretty good party match. That would be the understatement, as this was a pretty good 15 minutes worth into the action, into about 7. At one point, I thought Sting hurt his leg, but they had to treat him like the Undertaker of AEW.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you think about this coming up match with LaSex Gods versus Sting and Darby?
So here's what I'm thinking. So this is going to be like a to test Sammy Guevara's how I say it loyalty in terms of with him in the Jericho Appreciation Society. So if they want to go with Sammy Guevara, continue on with the babyface run, so they gotta give us a story leading up to that, and then maybe later on, somewhere down the road, they can give us that match down the road to tell that long story, because they started together when they was in the Inner Circle, not in the Jericho Appreciation Society, so that will be like a good story to tell.
Yeah, for sure. This is exciting. Again, it's like their mentors and the students going at it.
Yeah, and then this would definitely because Chris Jericho, like any person that he sees, like he'll definitely give that person a stand up rivalry to help boost that person. So Jericho, like many others, like John Moxley, like all the veterans, are here to help to like the future of the company to be where they are.
I like the dig that Guevara did on Jericho, how he couldn't beat Adam Cole twice. That had to sting. No pun intended.
Exactly. So that was a funny one. So they will be teaming up this coming Dynamite, which we'll get to those in a second, in a few moments. And then Renee Paquette was backstage with the Guns, as if she asked their relationship with Jay White following the finish to the main event last week. Guns played dumb and said that they're the best brother tag team in AEW and issuing a challenge to the Hardys next week.
This is a great promo, though. I ain't gonna lie. These guys are really coming into their own.
We'll see how they get managed, but we'll see.
Yeah, and looking at the Guns compared to where they were in the Daily's place during the pandemic days, man, they came a long way. Great promo.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Wardlow defeated Jake Hager to retain the TNT title. So like a pretty good rubber match for him before he faces Lucius Swords on the debut episode of Collision. and we'll get to that in a second because I'm gonna say my rant later on when we do. I'm gonna save my rant. I'm gonna save my.
I was thinking about the Trico when I was watching Collision. I was like, here we go with Trico. I already know what he's about to say.
Now we'll save that later for later on. When we do. But after the match, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus tried to cut a promo on the big screen, but the audio was kept messing up in the first half. So but the important part is when they said that this Saturday it will be Wardlow versus Luchasaurus at Collision, Cage said, "What happened when Wardlow knew Daddy will be there to save him?" They cut to Luchasaurus holding a bloody Arn Anderson as Wardlow sprang to the back. I guess Luchasaurus and Cage probably cut off to him, like during the match when Arn Anderson and his son threw away those two rejects from the Jericho Appreciation Society. I don't care if they say their names. I don't care. I don't care.
Magic Menard, baby.
So we go to a video package showing that the ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who said as long as MJF is the AEW champion, the title won't shine like it should. Tanahashi came very close to beating John Moxley at Forbidden Door last year and issues a challenge to MJF. Renee Paquette approaches MJF backstage, being attended by the doctor, and told him that it was the official at Forbidden Door, which MJF declined, calling Tanahashi a rando from a risky dicky indie fair in Japan. MJF said it won't be the first time that he's a no-show to a match that Tony Khan put him for, telling Tanahashi no again. So this may lead into something, and I think this might when we go into the Collision results, I have a theory going into that, but we'll get into that soon.
Gotcha. And I can't wait to get to the MJF response because this was great. This is going to be an awesome match, by the way, between these two. I think it's really going to push MJF, to the limit.
And then Renee, backstage with Orange Cassidy says that, and she asks, "What's the future holds?" And Cassidy says, "Everybody knows how this works. Someone walks to him and challenge him, and then before you know it, Zack Sabre Jr. was right on cue and said the idea of being double champion sounds marvelous." Daniel Garcia walked in and asked Cassidy where's Sheba is, as Cassidy said Sheba isn't here, but sets up a Cassidy versus Sheba versus Sabre Jr. and Garcia next week. So I feel like we might get a fatal four-way between these guys for the AEW International title at Forbidden Door.
How awesome would that be?
That would kind of like what they did last year with the who was it? It was with Jay White, Adam Cole, Heyman Adam Page, and I forgot who was the other one that they did last year.
It was Okada.
Yeah, Okada. Yeah. Okada. Yeah. So
I mean, this sounds like a really good lineup. Zack Sabre Jr. is a hell of a wrestler. I mean, a hell of a talent. All his matches are methodical, very thoughtful. I mean, his submissions, and with someone like Garcia, oh man, I would like to see those guys go one-on-one as well. But yeah, really good matchup. I'm liking where this is going. The tag team I'm happy with, but I think it definitely will be most likely a fatal four-way at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, that's why I think it's gonna happen. So that would be the spinoff from last year. And then Toni Storm defeated Sky Blue to retain the AEW Women's World Title, in which I call it the Battle of the Booty Butt Cheeks.
Booty butt cheeks.
Yeah, this was definitely a showcase for Sky Blue because she really showed out in this match. There was a time that I almost think she was gonna win it, but nah, they had to keep it on to Tony Storm because they're saving it up to All In when Jamie Hayter returns. Yeah, like I said before, I think they're saving that. But there was one time that I thought Sky Blue was gonna get it. I was like, damn, I shouldn't think that too hard for that. I shouldn't think too hard.
Another great example of AEW really invested in their young talent. I mean, Sky Blue has a new theme song now. She seems more confident. She's been under the tutelage of Madison Rain, who they brought in to train women, and you can see how good of a coach Madison is if you look at Sky Blue of where she was and where she's at now. I mean, it seems like they're about to give this girl a push. Which she is a fan favorite. Her pictures are going viral over the internet for other reasons, booty butt cheeks. But when they see her wrestle in that ring and see how good she is, people become a fan of her real quick. So she don't have to say much. She's cute as a button, and she can hold her own in that ring now. So really good job for AEW investing in a young talent, having someone to teach and tutor these young professional wrestlers to make them better stars for AEW. So she's another great example on the women's side on how that tutelage really pays off.
Yeah, absolutely. But this ain't the only time we'll see Sky Blue because she'll be in a tag team match in Collision. We'll get to that in a second when we do the review for that. But moving on to backstage again, when they were named podcast, she was backstage with Hook and Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who said that the summer of Jungle Hook is in full swing. Perry says he feels naked without championship gold, referencing that the Hook got the FTW title. So he officially accepts Santana's challenge for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at Forbidden Door. Paquette asks on Hook on his thoughts, but Perry interrupts and says this came up quick, calls Hook his best friend, and asks him to be in his corner at Forbidden Door. As you know, Hook don't normally say too much, so he gives us the fist bump as approval. So yeah, and let me just say this: I don't think Jungle Boy is going to win the IWGP Heavyweight title because I think he might win the TNT title, which we'll get to that why I believe that when we get to the Collision review. So yeah, so I'm saving that for later.
So I don't think the Jungle Boy will win Forbidden Door, but I do think it may be another turning point because he has been doing heel things. He has been doing some heel things. And I think Jungle Boy is going to turn on Hook. Because just like Cage mentored Jungle Boy, I think Jungle Boy might be passing down information to Hook. So I think there's going to be a rivalry between those two. And I think Jungle Boy may be going heel soon. I've been noticing some Easter eggs or some little nuggets they've been laying out in his matches, in his promos. So I think he's going heel. Also, I'm over Hook not talking. We already have that gimmick with Orange Cassidy. So I would really like it if Hook got a personality, just pick a personality and at least display it. But I'm kind of over him not being able to talk on the mic. And also, I think the fans are kind of over it too because his pops are getting smaller. The gimmick needs to kind of evolve. It's stagnant right now. But anyways, those are my predictions. But I think Jungle Boy might go on. I need to become a badass type gimmick and FTW championship. Nothing says you're more of a badass than that. So, I think he might be going for the FTW championship just to give that division some kind of life.
Yeah, and I do agree that we might see Jungle Boy heel turn, but they're not gonna pull the trigger yet. And I'm gonna tell you why once we get to the Collision review in a few moments. But the main event saw the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page, and they was dressed in cowboy outfits as they defeated Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta of the Blackpool Combat Club. Man, this was an action-packed sprint, fun match, but the post-match is what we need to talk about. So after the match, Casanoli and Moxley, as they attack Nick over the barricade, and then Eddie Kingston's music hits, and he runs out, and then Kingston did a double leg on Casanoli, and the brawl was on as Yuta was dispatched until Moxley and Kingston face off, because you know that they best friends. And the Bucks attacked Moxley, and a shuffle happened between Konote Takeshita hitting the ring and attacking Kingston. This led to Kenny Omega hitting the ring and brawl with Takeshita, who planted a Snapdragon while the Bucks and Page took out the BCCs with triple dives. Right on, then Omega was going to do the Terminator dive. Will Ospreay appeared and wiped out Omega, and then we heard a lot of holy shit chants. Ospreay clocked Omega with the hidden blade and stood tall, as Bryan Danielson said he thinks Ospreay will be the winner at Forbidden Door. For good measure, Ospreay connected with the Stormbreaker to stand tall. Don Callis was at ringside, while Danielson is on top of the stage, both applauding Ospreay's actions, and Ospreay got off with one more hidden blade before they went off the air. Man, so we got a lot of rivalries going on here. First off, we got a lot of things going on for Forbidden Door. In case y'all didn't know, Kenny Omega will be defending the IWGP United States title against Will Ospreay. We are still continuing on with the rivalry with the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. As we mentioned before, this might lead to blood and guts. But the question is, where does Eddie Kingston lie? Is he going to be joining back with his brother in Jon Moxley, or is he a part of the Elite? So there's a lot of questions answered to be asked here.
Yeah, this reminded me of one of those old Raw and SmackDown endings from back in the day, with all these run-ins and all this crazy stuff, everyone doing their finisher. That was exciting. I mean, that was some of the most exciting TV, most exciting Dynamite endings ever, man. Everybody was talking about it the next day, but it really showed like Dynamite has come such a long way. But yeah, the Will Ospreay stuff was great. All the hits was great. The Hunk Bucks was great. That whole main event segment, 10 stars, dude. I mean, nothing else you can say about that. Dynamite ended with a bang Wednesday night, and I think it got me excited for Forbidden Door. I know that for sure. I can't wait to watch Forbidden Door, and I love Forbidden Door is actually one of my favorite pay-per-views, only because it's just such a clash of styles. It feels different. It looks cool. There's bragging rights afterwards. You got these new stars. It's just such a great little way to freshen up your product in the middle of everything. So Forbidden Door rocks, man. This is a great ending. I hope Will Ospreay becomes a full-time AEW professional wrestler, but that's hopeful thinking.
Yeah, but at any times when they do Forbidden Door stuff, you know he will be there. But I think he's I think he's a full-time New Japan wrestler. But we'll see what happens. But this ain't the last time that we'll see Will Ospreay, as we move on now to the Rampage results. As it started off with the United Empire, Will Ospreay, Jeff Cobb, and Kyler Fletcher defeated Chaos, Rocky Romero, Chuck Taylor, and Trent Beretta in a trios match to start off the night. So a pretty good fast-paced opener that showcased everyone that is capable with being in the ring with each other. Pretty good fun party match. But like I said, this was another match for Will Ospreay to get a win, and anticipated for Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, for sure. This was definitely got some exciting stuff coming up for sure. I can't wait for August, man. I can't wait for them to go. I can't wait for All Out. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah. And now we move on to Taya Valkyrie defeating a local in Trish Artery. This was a very quick matchup there.
Yep.
But this is just to showcase a new attitude for Taya Valkyrie as he's still salty over Chris Stanlander beating Jay Cargill. So yeah. So we'll move on to that. And we go backstage to Lexi Nair asking the Hardys about the challenge from the Guns on Dynamite. Matt officially accepts the challenge for next Wednesday. And then the Guns will be their stepping stone to becoming the AEW Tag Team Champions. Jeff said they'll do what the Guns' father has failed to do and make them famous.
What do you think about what do you think about the Hardys possibly going for a title run?
I think they should get at least one more title run before they actually hang up the boots. So I think that definitely should happen because I think they won mostly every tag team championship in every promotion. WWE,
pretty much.
Impact, yeah.
Pretty much, man. These guys got belts from everywhere. Bunch of indie places too.
Yeah. And then we get to what was the main match, one of the main matches of the night, and was a mixed trios match with Mark and Papa Briscoe and Aubrey Edwards defeating Jeff, Karen Jarrett, and Jay Lethal. And I know Darnell somewhere should be happy as a mud that yeah. So we saw Jeff Jay Lethal got the guitar shot, but the end of the match saw Aubrey Edwards locked in the figure four, and then Karen was just tapping out like a drunk person.
How good was that? That was some good TV. Good job, Aubrey.
Yeah.
She did a good job. And her being a ref, look at that. Cheating behind the ref's back. Ain't that something? She should have more dignity than that.
Yeah. What did Tony Schiavone say? Do not mess with Aubrey. Do not mess.
Yeah, that was a fun match, man. Got the internet everyone was talking about that match. And remember I said, I think they're going to start doing things to kind of help the game out and how you can play as Aubrey in the video game, and now Aubrey has her first match. So I think they've been doing some stuff to try to replicate the game a little bit.
Yeah, and but that ain't the last time that we'll hear from Jeff Jarrett and Mark Briscoe, because we'll get to that in a second, and then when we do the collision review. Lexi Nair was backstage with Taya Valkyrie, who said the crowd couldn't get enough of her tonight, and Valkyrie said, we had heard enough from Chris Stanlander, who walked in and then said, and Valkyrie said, she did all the work to soften up Cargill, and it's bitter that Statlander took her spotlight. And Statlander said, there's an open challenge out there, and I ain't nowhere hard to find. So we got that match official for this upcoming Dynamite. So it will be Chris Statlander versus Taya Valkyrie for the TBS title.
No.
Yeah.
Big fan of Chris Statlander. Happy she's back.
Yeah. And then Mark Henry was about to introduce the main event when Don Callis interrupt with Kosei Takeshita. Much like Kenny Omega, Takeshita only wrestles top-tier talent, and he is better than El Senado, Pedro Alera, and Ultimo Dragono. Omega has beaten a lot of great Mexican wrestlers, but he hasn't beaten up El Hido as Don Callis, who called Takeshita the new god of professional wrestling, and Henry was absolutely baffled by Callis' claims.
The nerve of him.
Yep, and then the main event, Kosei Takeshita defeated Bandito. So the first half of the match was kind of slow because they wanted to take their time, kind of outpsych each other. But in the end, though, this was a pretty good main event of that Rampage.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these guys was going at it. Really fun match. Takashita is like a wrestling specimen, man. This guy is in incredible shape. He's an incredible talent. Can't wait to see the rivalry match between him and Omega, because that is going to be one for the books. They have very similar styles, but Takeshi is younger and he's kind of beat up. So I'm looking forward to when that match finally comes to play.
Yep. And then and here it is, the all you've been waiting for, the Collision review. So I know y'all been waiting for that. So let's get straight on to that one. So to start off the show, we had MJF. Well, I'll explain why MJF is important in this promo. But CM Punk returns, and after a few seconds of the chance, cutting personality hits, and then he made his way to the ring. He had some boots around his neck and a red bag in his hand, and he says, "I am tired of being nice." He was on the shelf for 10 months, and with an erupted triceps, Punk talks about how long he was here, and this is the professional wrestling business, not a popularity contest. And if you told Young Punk how to sell out buildings all around the world, Young Punk wouldn't believe you, but he has. He has gotten here riding the backs of smart and passionate pro wrestling fans. He loved the people because they love him. They love him because he wasn't always apologetical to himself. But there is some people who hate on him for that. Punk knows his presence make him people uncomfortable because he tells the truth, and the truth is painful. While we get a couple of "fuck the elite" chants, he says, "You can love him or you can hate him, but we all know he is the truth." And he said people can call him wherever he wants, but David Zaslav, Warner Brothers Discovery executive, called him One Bill because he is the one true article in the business full of counterfeit bucks, and I'm sure that it won't ruffle any feathers. Punk then go on and said he will never compress, that he will always be himself. There are people who think they owe an apology, and he apologizes. He is sorry that they are suffer than any wrestlers that they like. Punk then grabs the bag, saying that the last time he was in the ring, he had what was in the bag raised over his head. He said it belongs to him until someone can pin him or submit him. Punk then grabs his boots around his neck and he says, there are people who are praying that he will hang up the boots until someone can fill those boots. They belong on his feet. Punk leaves with the bag and the boots with a massive reaction. Now, the reason why I say that MJF is a part of this promo, I mean, come on, Leland, let me ask you, what do you think was in the bag? What do you think was in the bag?
Well, the world championship, or the one that he had.
Exactly. So that kind of tells us where Punk is going to go. Obviously, we are going to get a rivalry with the Elite, obviously. But the reason I say this might fall into Forbidden Door is that that's only if MJF does decide not to show up. Then I think CM Punk might take the place, take that AEW championship out of the bag, and says, I'm going to defend this title against Hiroshi Tanahashi. So that's why I say he gonna have two feuds going into the in his comeback return. I know I said Samoa Joe too as well, because Punk has never been defeated Samoa Joe, but they might go into it, but I don't know. There's a lot to discuss. We'll get to that in a future road.
I do want to say I'm happy to hear I wasn't sure if they confirmed that Punk was injured of what happened, back then and All In. Um, I didn't know that they had confirmed that he was injured or not. But my theory is that everything is a work. Everything was a work between him and Young Bucks, between him and Kenny Omega, between him and Larry the Dog. I think everything was a work, and it was a way to take the titles off Kenny Omega. I also think that maybe Kenny Omega also got injured, and this was a way to write them off TV for a second, but keep everything interesting, get the internet world a buzzing, and talk about everything. Now, I've have conversations with AEW wrestlers who gave me their story, but those wrestlers also wasn't in the building when this thing happened. So I don't know. I don't know. But the fact that I know that now I know he was injured this whole time, I can see why he was so upset that night. I can see why all of these things kind of happened. Now, CM Punk is a polarizing guy. I don't like the fact that he's starting this narrative that made the crowd say F the elite, since, without the elite, AEW would not be a thing. So it's kind of odd to say F the elite when you're in a AEW show. I mean, that's weird. But Punk is starting that narrative. Now, is it just for TV? Is it all a work? We don't know. But dang it, it's exciting because we don't know. But we do know Punk is back and he has a brand new shiny home with a great new set and a home crowd that was there just to see him. And that was AEW Collision last Saturday night. The show feels new, it feels different, it feels very professional. I mean, Collision is the culmination of where AEW is right now, what kind of wrestling product, what kind of wrestling show they can put on today. And that episode is a really good standard to hold up to for AEW, because it just, everything clicked, everything worked, everything was clean. We got some returns or some announcement of some returns. We got a little bit of everything. But this was a really good premiere for Collision. I gotta remember to set my DVR for Saturdays at 8. Because I thought it came one at 10, like Rampage. But I'm excited to I think also one thing that they should do, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in the day, Raw used to do a replay like at 2 in the morning. Like, if you waited till Raw go off, and if you left your TV on and wake up like at 2 in the morning, Raw would be coming back on. I do think they do need to do a Collision replay like at 11 or 12, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. on Sunday. I think they actually would catch a lot of viewers that way with that replay. Because I know I woke up that Sunday and all I could think about was Collision. I wanted to rewatch it or kind of watch the parts that I missed. So I think they should put a replay, and because it's only 2 hours of time, and what else is playing on TNT on a Sunday at 10 a.m. But I think they would benefit from doing a replay on Sundays at 10 a.m.
Yeah, and before I go on with Collision, do you see CM Punk's new T-shirt with Larry on the front?
I saw it. I saw it.
And did you see on front of the United Center? They even got Larry on the board. On the board.
I mean, Larry the Dog is living a life, man, that he don't even know he's living.
Yeah, and to piggyback what you're saying about Collision, so they definitely pulled this up. They definitely pulled out the premiere like it was the A show. So it's definitely going to be a ratings picking between Collision and Dynamite. So and everything we've been saying for the past week. So like, are they going to have split rosters between the wrestlers? Show like who's going to be their permanent home for Dynamite, who's going to be there for their permanent home or Rampage.
Will they have a draft? Will they have a Survivor Series? Dynamite versus Collision? Will it be Collision guys come? I mean, the AEW logo is red for Collision. So now you have an AEW red brand and then an AEW, gold brand. So I mean, it is a different feeling show, you know. And now and you know what's even best about this is that before it was like AEW, everyone said AEW was in competition with WWE. Now AEW is in competition with itself. The guys from Dynamite go on to put on a better show than the guys at Collision. And when you have that internal competition, and thank goodness for TK able to get it to this point where now you have that internal competition, you phase out what other people are doing, and now you're just worried about your immediate competition between Dynamite and Collision. I mean, and this is just going to be, you're going to get better storylines, better wrestling. These guys are going to try to top each other Wednesday to Wednesday to Saturday. You know, and then also, here's another question, Trico. Will Collision and Dynamite share pay-per-views, or will Collision get their own set?
No, they're gonna share. They're gonna share pay-per-views. That definitely.
But for how long, though? For how long? I mean, just think about it. I mean, because you know, Raw had their own pay-per-views, SmackDown had their own pay-per-views. How long will Collision and Dynamite need to share the same card? Because Dynamite has its own stories and Collision's going to have its own stories. How long will that last? You know, so we'll see what happens.
I mean, that's really up to TK because like you only get AEW only has like five pay-per-views. And if they want to go with routes with Dynamite Collision, have their own stories and rivalries and all that stuff, they could do that with special episodes. They can still do that because yeah. And because like I said before, they only got 5 pay-per-views. You got Revolution, Double or Nothing, Forbidden Door, All In, All Out. That's kind of the same thing, and Full Gear.
I would say All In and All Out is the separate things now. Since TK, yeah, because since TK bought Ring of Honor, now he can finally say All Out, which hasn't been used in a minute. So I would say, yeah, All Out is his own thing now.
Yeah, same thing for Ring of Honor. They got their own pay-per-view. As a matter of fact, I think they got a pay-per-view called Death Before Dishonor. I've got. Let me look at the date. When is that? Hold on. Death Before Dishonor. When is that? Yeah, July 21st. Yeah.
That'd be very interesting if Collision gets his own pay-per-view. That'd be wild. That'd be really wild. They could do a lot of cool things now, though, with this second show. I mean, it's his main show, and then now everyone was saying that TK roster was filled with, you know, it was bloated, and now these guys have their own segments. Now these guys can have their own moments and their own stories away from Dynamite, you know, so. But also a lot of AEW originals have a new place to showcase their talents.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like we mentioned, we got 4 shows. You got Dynamite, you got Rampage, you got Ring of Honor, and then you got Collision now. So
TK is working.
Yeah. So like I said, this is just the first premiere of Collision. We'll have to see how they're gonna do for the rest of the Saturday nights, and we can state our claims on what they should do and how everything that it should be run. But it's just a matter of how Collision is going to be done and how Dynamite is going to be done now. With now AEW has the 3 shows, so we'll see down the line. Now, our first match. The AEW Tag Team TNT Championship match with Luchasaurus defeating Wardlow to win the title. Let me tell y'all something. If you think that they pretended Wardlow with this loss, they are not. How many times has Wardlow won the title? I mean, you can see it clear as day of how this crap was going to happen. So first of all, Wardlow defeated Christian Cage in the ladder match at Double or Nothing. So you would expect the Christian Cage to do something crazy for him to be for Luchasaurus to be Wardlow. So he even took one of the cameraman's camera and smacked it over the head over Wardlow. It's kind of similar to what Edge did to the Undertaker back at Survivor Series of 2007, when Edge was disguised as a cameraman and hit the Undertaker with a camera, allowing Batista to defeat the Undertaker at that Survivor Series. So yeah, so it's kind of similar to there. But the one thing that was the only thing that pissed me off, like when Luchasaurus beat Wardlow, Christian was out there holding the championship up like he won the freaking title. I'm like, what is going on here? What's going on?
That's what made it good though, because it's like Christian Cage thought it's like he did it, but he didn't do it. You know what I mean? It's listen, I watched this thing and I was like, oh, Trico about to have a whole fit about this finish.
I mean, they basically making Luchasaurus look stupid. You should be the one holding the title.
Yeah. But I mean, Luchasaurus is his dinosaur, you know? So it's like, you know, if Yoshi did something, Mario would take advantage of, take the credit. I don't know. I'm just saying. Like, I think I understand what they're doing here. You know what I'm saying? So, but I get it. Wardlow is going to be an anytime TNT champion before the end of the year if they keep doing this stuff, you know. But it has to be where Wardlow trying to goes for the belt again and he loses and then he puts his eye on the AEW championship. But I mean, the guy with the shortest title reigns ever is Wardlow. I mean, it is kind of messing up his record a little bit, but at the same point in time, again, making it seem like he's done a lot. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the spot was good, though. Hitting him in the head with the camera and the lens went flying off. I was like, the cameras can hurt. So, yeah, I see what they do in it, and I don't see what they're doing at the same time. I'll say that.
Yeah, but piggyback on Luchasaurus now becoming the TNT champion, I want to go back to Jungle Boy because he tweeted out saying to Luchasaurus, "Congratulations, ... So that tells me that they might reunite the feud between Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and that's why I say Jungle Boy is not going to win the IWGP Heavyweight title. I think he might win the TNT title from Luchasaurus, and then they might continue on with the rivalry between Christian Cage and Luchasaurus.
Yeah, that is. I could definitely see that. I could definitely see them doing that as well. And this is a way for Jungle Boy to get a new title. So, I mean, a lot of ways they could do it. I think Jungle Boy might be going heel, but there's a lot of ways they can do it. But there we go again. Wardlow lost another title again. So I'm getting kind of over that whole angle and that whole kind of thing. I don't think he should win it back. He lost it too many times. Don't get it back. The crowd won't be excited for him.
Yeah. And so moving on. We go backstage to Lexi Nair as he was with Powerhouse Hobbs and QT Marshall. Marshall said that Hobbs is here on Collision as promised, and that Hobbs will win the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Hobbs said that this new chapter of the Book of Hobbs will be about redemption. So let me tell you. So the Owen Hart Cup tournament will start on Forbidden Door and then will end on Collision when they get to Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So I think this year's winners will be like the new kids showcase guys. Maybe Powerhouse Hobbs might win. Maybe Ricky Starks might win. But I want them to do something different with this year. Maybe like whoever wins the Owen Hart Cup tournament gets like a world title shot.
Definitely. It definitely can be leading up to all of that. I think they do need to push it a little bit more, but it looks like it is leading up to that.
Yeah. And yeah, but Power on Top is ain't the only one that ended the tournament, and then we'll get to that in a second. And so we go to for what I thought was the best match of the night was Andrade El Idolo as he made his return, and he goes one-on-one with Buddy Matthews with Andre El Idolo getting the win. So
man, how good was this match, man?
Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, if you're listening, this is how they do it. Okay.
Nah, it was really cool. Just even when we skip to the finish of Andrade using the figure eight. Shout out to his wife using his wife's finish in an AEW ring. Is that a hint of things to come? Who knows? Oh my God, can you imagine if Charlotte Flair went over? That'd be freaking incredible. Also, shout out to a Full Seller who recently did a photo shoot for Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair, and Andrade Romel. That was pretty cool, man. He had a chance to meet him and take pictures with him, or take pictures of him. Yeah, that was a pretty cool little shout out to Charlotte. But this match was just incredible. Great storytelling. A little moment with the doctors. They got up, started fighting again. Them both playing their former injuries and Andrade's most recent injury. But really good storytelling, a really good aggressive physical match. And if this is the type of match I can look forward to every week on Collision, I'll be watching Collision because this was pay-per-view quality match right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then after the match, Andrade offered a handshake, but the lights went out. It wasn't Sabu this time. It wasn't Sting. Nope, it was the House of Black. And Brody Key laid out Andrade with the lariat as the House of Black stood tall around him. So we got our first rivalry on Collision. So it's with Andrade and the House of Black. So he might get a couple of guys, and we might have our trios rivalry here.
Listen, House of Black, don't mess with Andrade because Andrade has a big pit bull named Roosh, and you don't want Roosh. I'm telling you, Roosh, he don't know wrestling ain't real. He hit for real. Roosh don't know it's a show. Okay, he think he fighting for his life. You don't want that. I know you guys are tough, okay? I know you guys are tough, but Roosh, please let Andrade be.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, we got our first rivalry here for Collision, so they might be starting something there. And we got a video package from Scorpio Sky. We ain't heard that name in a long time. Says he will be back soon. So we got a couple of returning superstars. Could Collision be their homes? Or
reach for the sky. I'm happy about Scorpio Sky coming back, man. Great talent. You know, first ever tag team champion. You know, great. Just great to have him back. I was a big fan of Scorpio Sky, so happy to see him back. Hopefully, he comes back as a face. I like him better as a face than I like him as a heel. Because you can tell he's just a genuine nice guy. But I like him better as a face. So hopefully come back as a face.
Yeah. And I know to piggyback from Dynamite and Collision, because I know some fans want to see certain wrestlers on Dynamite and they want to see certain wrestlers on Collision. So so they can go back in the days where they're back in the WWF days. They're like, oh, like, we having a match here on Dynamite, but like we might continue this rivalry on Collision, or they would just go separate with the rivalry. So so it's a lot to picking it from there. So yeah,
like I said, it looked like it's leading to. I mean, I don't know where it's gonna go, but it looks like it's gonna lead eventually to a brand split kind of draft type situation, all that.
So we go from a good video package to a couple of two dumbasses in the ring with Tony Nese and Mark Sterling But then, guys, Miro shut them up as Miro defeated Tony Nese in his return match. It's always great to see the Redeemer. So I think the question is, what is next for Redeemer? And I said before that if I had to say who should be the one to dethrone Orange Cassidy for the international title, I say it's Miro. I say it's Miro.
Man, how great did Miro look, man? Happy to have him back. He got the crowd hype. He's just that big, big dude that's just fun to watch. He's powerful, aggressive. Shout out to Nese for doing the job. But I'm happy to have Miro back, man. Like Collision, he checked a lot of boxes because they had so many returning wrestlers that we haven't seen in a while. Andrade, Scorpio Sky making an appearance, Miro, CM Punk, Samoa Joe. So it really was just packed with wrestlers, and that was our first time seeing Luchasaurus in an official match in a long time. So this episode was just and that just to show you how much great talent they have on the card and they have in the roster that they just didn't have time for on Dynamite. I remember when TK was trying to fit everyone in, and everyone was saying yo, this show is moving way too fast. Chill out. And now they have time to stretch it out and to get more time. So, and Collision showed that they had all this great talent just in the wings, just on the shelf, just chilling. And now we get to see them. And man, it felt good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you noticed, but Sheamus has been hyping up and been training with Miro for his return, because in the match, Miro did the 10 chest of the heartbeats.
Yeah, I've seen that. The bell, the drum. So yeah, that was hype.
Yeah. And then we go to our tag team match. Sky Blue, the hometowner of Chicago, team with Will Nightingale, and defeated the Outcast members Ruby Soho and Tony Storm. So we already know TK is going to allow the hometimers get their wins. So Sky Blue is a Chicago native, and even Mama Blue was happy. Mama Blue.
That was funny. Sky Blue, again, we were just talking about it. They gave her a push. She looked great. And now she got a big win. Willow, also, someone else is looking great. Their woman division is starting to come together. And with Collision, that Sky Blue was just a part of the first women's match of Collision. So with Collision, we have more opportunities for the women wrestlers to have their shine as well. So we have all this great talent, not enough time. Collision now, we get one more women's match. We get some more women's segments that we can see, especially since Dark is gone away. And Dark, I feel like, is where a lot of the women matches live. But now, because the Collision is here, we get more women matches to watch a week from this stacked roster that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we go to our not one but two pre-tape segments. As like I said before, Ricky Starks adding himself to the Owen Hart tournament. He knows that the tournament. He noted that the tournament was absolutely his to win, and I see what he did there. And because he called himself Absolute Ricky Starks, so yeah, I'm pretty sure. But I want to see who else is going to be in the tournament before I give my official prediction on who's going to win the tournament. And then our next pre-tape saw Jeff Jarrett announcing that he is signed for a concession stand brawl against Mark Briscoe, 46th year to this day of his family promoting the infamous Temple concession stand brawl. He says there ain't going to be no Karen, there ain't going to be no Sajay, there ain't going to be no Jay Lethal. It's only going to be Jarrett kicking Briscoe's ass. So that's been signed on to this upcoming Dynamite, and I can't wait to see that one.
That sounds like some tomfoolery going on and I can't wait to see it. I'm so happy and so sad for Mark Briscoe. I mean, he lost his brother, but the AEW community has definitely took him in, and TK is, making sure he can work because I'm pretty sure his brother left a wide void there. Even the daddy got a check last week, so I'm happy to see TK helping that family do what they do best, and that's entertain people, put smiles on people's faces, and do some dog matches. So it's good just to see Mark Briscoe working. I'll be there to support, and I love the fact that Jared is bringing Mark in this whole story. I was so against Jeff Jarrett, I'm not gonna lie, but now I ain't gonna. I kind of like him. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like Jeff Jarrett again. He's such a professional. When I went to go see him in Detroit, and just the way he commanded attention in the arena, I didn't need the commentators and nothing. My eye was fixated on him, and that takes a pro to do something like that. So I'll be there for the dang old concession stand battle.
Yeah, we might go see some popcorns flying, hot dogs, pizza rolling. So it's gonna be a fun match. Then this coming Dynamite. We'll see how that goes from there. And then listen, listen, listen. The, the acclaim came out.
Everybody loves the acclaim.
Yeah. Yeah, in Cass's rap, he wanted us to wish Daddy Ass a happy Father's Day. Billy Gunn noted that he wasn't not going to be in the game for much long lately, as the trios titles was still in their reach. Anthony Boyes noted that AEW now stood for two things: acclaims every Wednesday and an acclaim every weekend. So they wanted to do the scissor in the city that made the acclaim the people's choice. So they had the big scissor party with Tony Schiavone in the ring. So we got a four
First
scissors.
Ever.
Yep.
First ever scissor collusion.
Yep. Yeah, so that was
This was a great segment. I mean, you can't get mad at the acclaim. They always knock it out of the park. They're always fun. I wish I would have got some of the foam fingers when I was there. But you can't knock this out. You just can't say the wrong about this group, man. But yeah, put a belt on Daddy Ass. Let's see them win the trios title. But not from House of Black, from some other trio.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are your thoughts on the Collision commentary team of Kevin Kelly, Nigel McGuinness, and Jim Ross?
I'm not gonna lie, Kevin Kelly was pretty good. I mean, he's a professional. He's been doing this for a long time. It did give it a fresh feel. It felt like Ring of Honor, but Ring of Honor with money. Kevin Kelly been working in this business for years, and this is probably like a really great opportunity for him. I mean, he's on TV on a network, calling these shows. He's been grinding in the indies, and I'm happy to see him get his shot. Same for Nigel, to really get their big thing. Nigel and Kevin they kind of gave me that, it felt more like I ain't gonna lie, this whole presentation felt more WWE-ish, so it felt kind of more upscaled a little bit, but still had that rawness of AEW. But Kevin Kelly does give me that kind of throwback announcer kind of feel. But Nigel is good as well, so it worked. JR unfortunately had an accident that morning, and his voice was hoarse, but he still did a great job on the main event. I'm never not gonna love JR, so he can't do no, even when he messes up and flubs, he can't do no wrong. That is the grandpa of wrestling, and he can do whatever he wants. I like it. So
what would be great if they bring back Mauro Manello. So you remember when Mauro Manello and Nigel McGuinness back in the NXT Black and Gold days?
Yeah, one of my favorite commentators. Remember, one of my favorite commentators for sure. I mean, definitely one of my favorite commentators, and if they did have him, that'd be great. I know he is trying to do more boxing, so I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him for not, trying to be a part of it because I know he's trying to do boxing. He's with Triller and stuff like that. So, but it would be nice to have him on there if they can get him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Kevin Kelly ran down the card for Dynamite this coming Wednesday, which is going to be in Chicago as well. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki reformed their team that they had last year at Forbidden Door, as they would take on AR Fox, Axel Andretti, and Darius Martin in a trios match. Chris Statlander would defend the TBS title against Taya Valkyrie. Orange Cassidy and Sheba would go against Daniel Garcia and Zack Sabre Jr. The Guns goes against the Hardys. Jeff Jarrett versus Mark Briscoe in the concession stand brawl. Adam Cole will speak out from last week. And then finally, we'll have a blind eliminator tournament that will take place to determine the number one contender for the AEW tag team titles.
That's going to be fun. So I feel bad for Dante, man. Dante injured himself and everything, and unfortunately, and all that. But Darius is out there, definitely keeping it going. But definitely, for a second I forgot who the tag team champions was, and I hate to say it, but I do that when FTR has the belts. I know they're a great team, but they're not braggadocious enough to remind me that they're the freaking champs. But yeah, they're gonna need some opponents, and I'm actually ready for some like new kind of tag team matchups, some that we haven't seen before.
Yep, we'll see who wins that tournament. But main event, CM Punk and FTR defeated Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Samoa Joe. This was a energetic main event as Punk was able to get his feet wet and scored a win under his belt. The energy towards this match, especially when Punk and Joe had their face off, and Joe did get the better of Punk in most of their exchanges, but it was possible that they move in a direction that could be near Punk's future. So, like I said, we could have 3 possible feuds can happen for CM Punk. So, yeah. So, a very fun show overall. They didn't give us what to expect next week. Maybe when we get to Dynamite Wednesday, maybe they'll give us a card for next week's Collision.
Maybe. I wish they should have probably gave a card. They probably should have broke that down, especially since it's a new series. But I guess we just gotta watch and see what they plan, or they might use Dynamite to kind of explain some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I think they're gonna do. Because for now forward, like when you watch Dynamite, you'll see the preview for Collision, and when you see Collision, then you'll see the previews for Dynamite. That's why I think they're going for there. That's why I think they're
going. Yeah, but definitely, that main event was absolutely phenomenal. Punk didn't get that much ring time. How great is Juice Robinson, Rock Hard Juice Robinson, and Switchblade? I mean, these guys are workhorses. They did not miss a beat. So good. Switchblade is so lean, so quick, so fast, so precise. I mean, Juice Robinson came such a long way from his NXT days. Samoa Joe looked great. FTR looked great. Everything about that main event was spectacular. And I hate to say it, but this is what makes Punk, because he can talk a lot of trash, but when he's in that ring, he does do good stuff. He does tell a good story. He knows how to make a crowd pop. Granted, he's in Chicago, hometown, and I think AEW does that so well, where these hometowns come, that person can't do anything wrong in that hometown. And Tony loves the hometown pops. So, when they're in that city, they're God. And CM Punk is definitely God of the wrestling scene in Chicago. But he did look good. There was one moment where him and Switchblade was doing his reversals. that looked really good. But yeah, Rock Guard, Juice Robinson, Switchblade, Jay White. I mean, those guys were incredible. And also seeing CM Punk and Samoa Joe mix it up again was great. But overall, man, this Collision episode was fire. The hits was hard, not too much story to fluff it down, but just enough. Good promos, entertaining, controversial. I mean, this is their SmackDown, and they did it right. I mean, if you introduce a new show, it needs to feel different, it needs to feel big. And this did all of it. This hit all those buttons. It felt different. It felt bigger. It felt exciting. It felt like I should watch this on Saturdays. And I want to see what else happens, how their storytelling goes, and what other big events they will have. But man, AEW has arrived with their B show, and that mud is a beast. Collision is here to play. It doesn't feel like an indie thing. It feels big, expensive, and new. So wrestlers have a new home to go to, and that's Collision.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited. What they're gonna do with Collision and what they're gonna do with Dynamite and moving forward. There's a lot to go through. Excellent return from CM Punk, and I'm excited what the future holds going into Forbidden Door and of course All In. So we are excited what the future holds. AEW is back on top for what it was before, and let me just say this: like until they get Vince McMahon out of WWE, that's all I can say. But I'm excited for what the year holds. But
yeah, Forbidden Door is coming up. I'm excited for Forbidden Door. I'm excited for. I mean, wrestling has been such a good last couple of years for wrestling. I mean, it's been entertaining. It's been fun. It's been engaging. The community always growing. I mean, it's just really a fun time to be a wrestling fan. June 29th, can't wait for the game. I mean, I'm over the heels. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we wrap up, anything else you want to plug in?
No, man, not at the moment, man. We're just getting, all our last finishing touches on Empathy. Slow process, but a great process, and it's almost done. Our poster is done. So we're getting ready to release just a bunch of more stuff soon here.
Yep. And then yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing moving forward, y'all. So we're gonna be reviewing Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision for y'all. So I think like after we see all three shows, then we're gonna do reviews for those shows moving forward. So that'll be a good thing from there. But other than that, he is Leland and I'm Trico, and we'll see y'all soon in the next show.
All right, y'all. Peace.